Welcome back to Let's Get Political. I'm, of course, your host, Alicia Reese, and today we have Representative David Smith with us. Thank you so much for taking the time to answer 13 questions.
Pleasure to be with you.
Who's your best friend at the Capitol?
Well, I tell you, when we're up in Tallahassee, I won't say so much best friend, but it's a group of friends, and mostly the other representatives that are part of my class. So I'm in my third term. So my classmates, we were all elected in 2018 and came up here together. So that's really our group.
Who's your best friend from across the aisle?
Probably a bunch of the same folks that came in, work a lot with Christine Hunchofsky from down in Parkland, and we work bills together. Mike Gottlieb, we work bills together. Robin Bartleman's a good friend. We come in the morning about the same time, so we wind up eating breakfast together almost every day.
What do you do when you aren't in Tallahassee and when you are in Tallahassee but not at the Capitol?
Well, I tell you, very busy when I'm not here in Tallahassee. I'm back in my district, whether it's talking to people about what we're doing up here. So it might be Rotary Club or VFW, American Legion, visiting churches or other groups that ask me to come speak. So just really out in the community. And when I get my, time off, I'm a big bicycle rider. I ride the Cross Seminole Trail regularly. Anybody who follows me on Facebook will see I post a lot of my rides and those kind of things, and that's kind of my workout routine and stress relief.
What is your favorite bill that you put forth last year?
Well, we did quite a few. The favorite bill was a bill that would allow for an arrest expungement. So if you were charged with a crime, were falsely accused as an adult, and the legislation last year piggybacked off of legislation I passed in a previous session, where if you were a juvenile and you were arrested as a juvenile and you went through a diversion program recommended by law enforcement, approved by state's attorney, and then you completed a course, you could have that arrest expunged, removed from your record. So we passed that a couple of years ago, and so we piggybacked on top of that. Well, Florida statute says you're only allowed one arrest expungement. So if you were to have completed that expungement as a juvenile and then you were falsely accused of a crime as an adult, you couldn't get that felony heinous crime that you were falsely accused of removed. So we said, hey, well, why don't we try to do a second expungement in very particular cases? So we ran that bill, we passed it through the House and Senate, and it went to the governor, and the governor vetoed it. So it's a good bill. I think it's good public policy, and we hope to get that moving forward and passed into law at some time in the future.
What's a bill that someone else put forth that you didn't realize you were passionate about until you read it?
Well, I tell you, probably House Bill 485 last year, and I wound up being the co-prime sponsor of the bill. As you know, many people know, I spent my career in the United States Marine Corps, so 30 years as a helicopter pilot. And so veterans issues are very important to me. Representative Michelle Salzman and I teamed up on a bill that would create a program for what amounts to adult veteran daycare in Florida. So you have aging population of veterans, kind of like Vietnam era, that are getting of a certain age, and dementia, isolation, that type of Alzheimer's. So we wanted to be able to give them a safe place to go, and also maybe get their family members or caregivers a break. So we created in Florida statute this program, which allowed Florida to draw down on federal dollars to be able to help these veterans. It doesn't cost Florida a nickel to be able to give this support. So I think that's going to have a very significant impact on an aging population of veterans.
Do you live in your district?
Yes, you have to. That's by law. You have to live in and I represent a good chunk of Seminole County, and I live in Winter Springs.
You're running for re-election. Sum up your campaign in one word.
Effectiveness. Yeah, it's one of those things. I passed a lot of bills, worked on a lot of appropriation requests for my district, and really oftentimes, so I represent House District 38, which is a portion of Seminole County. But oftentimes when I speak to people, I will talk about House District 38, Seminole County, Central Florida, because we have so many regional issues, transportation, water quality, jobs, education, that you really can't just be so narrowly focused on your own district. Policy-wise and appropriation-wise, I can get money for other folks in other parts of Central Florida that help everybody in our region.
If you win re-election, how do you realistically see Florida in the next 2 years?
I think we'll keep on a track of growth. I mean, you look today, and this really started a few years ago with under Governor DeSantis's leadership, and with also coming out of COVID. I'll put it that in kind of two ways. With the Florida's robust economy, I mean, everybody who wants a job in Florida has a job. We've got 2.7% unemployment. We've got record-setting tax revenue coming in from our sales tax. So Florida's economy is booming. So we're getting that record tax money in, and we're spending it wisely in three main areas. One is education. So K through 12 schools today, there's more money per pupil than in the history of the state. We're putting more money into infrastructure. So roads and bridges and airports and seaports, actually even spaceports now. So we're making investments in long-term job security, job growth in Florida by investing in infrastructure. But the other aspect, which was a main campaign theme of Governor DeSantis when he was elected in 28, was the environment. So we're putting more money into environmental restoration and preservation than in the history of the state. And that's good money, because if you screw up your environment, it's outrageously expensive to correct. And I think we have a moral obligation to the generations of Floridians that come after us to take care of our environment, be good stewards of our environment, and spend that money effectively. And that's what we're doing at education, infrastructure, and environment. And I think we'll stay on those themes over the next 2 years.
What's something about the Capitol that a lot of people don't know, a secret spot or a little known fact?
Probably a little known fact is Tallahassee just celebrated its 200th anniversary as a Florida's kind of seat of government, and Tallahassee got picked because it's the midpoint between St. Augustine and Pensacola, where the two previous kind of governing bodies of East Florida and West Florida met back more than 200 years ago. And Tallahassee is our state capital because it's right in between those two cities.
What's a misconception people have about your job?
That you make a lot of money. This job, again, as I mentioned, 30 years in the Marine Corps, so I have a good pension. My health care is covered because I'm a military retiree, but the job pays next to nothing. If you looked at the hours that I put in and what I get paid as a legislator, I would be working for less than minimum wage.
If you weren't a state representative, what would you do?
If I wasn't a state representative, I would probably be working in the simulation and training industry in Central Florida, which is where I worked before. After I retired, worked in that area. Most people don't realize that simulation and training is the second largest economic driver in Central Florida after tourism. It's a huge business. A lot of it focused in the military, where I came out of, but in medical technology, when you think about robotic surgery, well, the only way you train is through simulation. And now with the growing of the space industry in Florida and more launches, we're beginning to start doing more training for space, and you train for space through simulation. So I would probably be working in that area. Within the research park next to University of Central Florida, within a 25-mile radius, there's about 250 companies, big and small companies, that are all pumping billions of dollars into Central Florida's economy.
What's a fun fact about your job that people don't know?
I enjoy public speaking. I like getting out, and it's if you like getting out and talking to people, that's what's fun about the job, where you can get out and most people, and I talk to groups all the time, and I tell people, don't suffer in silence. And I have constituents say, hey, you may not be able to help me, but I have this problem. And I'm like, well, yeah, I can help you with that. Or they may have an issue with a visa, or a passport. And I say, well, those are federal programs, but I do know somebody in your congressman or our senators in Washington, and you can connect them throughout. So the fun thing to me is helping people. That's really what I do as a job description. I help people for a living.
What does your perfect day include?
Probably getting to sleep in a little bit, and then getting into the Capitol while we're up here. We have a great time. Most people don't understand that Tallahassee is not Washington, D.C. Republicans and Democrats, we eat breakfast every day together. We eat lunch every day. We hang out after work. We're very good friends. The hate and discontent you see in the media about Washington, D.C. and all that, that's not Tallahassee. That's not state government. We work together to pass good laws for Florida. So we'll come in, eat breakfast, see good friends, meet constituents that are coming in that want to talk about issues. Hopefully being able to get to hear bills in committee, vote on them, or on a really good day, we'd be on the House floor getting to vote and pass laws, and then send them on to the governor and for signature. So it's just doing the job and trying to do it to the best of my ability and do it well.
Thank you so much for taking the time to answer.
Good. Thank you.